From beautiful downtown Millheim, in the smack dab center of the Keystone State, this is Lou Bryson with Seen Through a Glass, the podcast that's mostly about food and drink in central Pennsylvania. Welcome to episode 67. It's pronounced Lititz. Last episode featured a great interview with Eric Wolf, co-founder of Stoll and Wolf Distillery, which is in Lititz, in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I grew up in Lancaster, and I've been in Lititz many, many times. My mother worked there for a short time. I used to take dates to Lititz. I had my bachelor party up the road from there. It's a beautiful little town. So when I scheduled the second event for my new book in Lititz, I decided that this would be a perfect opportunity to do my first Lancaster County episode. Oh, what's that you say? My new book? Oh, haven't I mentioned that? Yes, I have a new book out, American Whiskey Masterclass. You can find it online in all the usual places, at Barnes & Noble, and of course at your local independent bookstores. And if they don't have it, ask them to order it ASAP and see if they'd like me to come by and do an event. Right. Anyway, back to Lititz, which is spelled Lititz. It's a source of continued annoyance to some Lancaster folks, because when we're not correcting people who say Lancaster, we're fuming about people who deliberately mispronounce Lititz. It's a town called Lititz. Okay, maybe it does look that way, but ask any local and they'll happily straighten you out. You split that first T and connect it to the first syllable, Lititz. More about Lititz coming up then, some of the fun places to go in town, along with an interview with Josh Kauffman, the brewer at Rooster Street Butcher, a brew pub in town. I interviewed Josh because he's one of the more interesting and innovative brewers in central PA, for my money, and he does it without being crazy nuts. You know that cliche about how Picasso had to learn to draw before he started putting two eyes on the same side of the nose? That's Josh as a brewer. I won't make you stick around to the end of the episode for the holiday schedule this time, so let's run through that. Because Thanksgiving and Christmas both fall on episode drop days, I decided to do 2 holiday episodes and a Thanksgiving episode. Here's how that's going to go down. Next episode, on November 13th, will be at least partly a Thanksgiving prep episode, plus, well, you will have to listen to the end of the episode for the plus, but it's a good one. Then the first holiday episode will drop 2 days after Thanksgiving on Small Business Saturday, November 29th. I promise you at least one excellent small business interview, I can promise because it's already recorded, plus a preview of the Mifflinburg Christkindl Market. In fact, I think we might just make that a double as a Mifflinburg episode. We'll see. The second holiday episode drops 2 weeks later on Thursday, December 11th, filled with holiday cooking and baking and some special interviews and a story about how my special Christmas beer dreams came true. Then 2 weeks later, on the day after Christmas, Friday, December 26th, we'll have, a Boxing Day episode or something. I might tell you about our family Christmas caroling party. Maybe we'll record an unscripted, unedited episode at one of our favorite spots. It's going to be relaxed, just like you'll be, I hope. There's a whole string of holiday episodes coming up, really. Should be fun. First, though, let's see what I'm drinking today. What I'm drinking today is fresh Sierra Nevada Celebration Ale. Yes, we've done it before. I think it was actually the first What I'm Drinking Today beer I ever did. Yes, it's a free sample the brewery sent me. Yes. And you know what? That's what I'm drinking today anyway, because it's one of my favorite beers, and I just got this fresh 6-pack, and I don't intend to wait another day. So let's have a taste. It is, as always, a gorgeous dark copper amber color with a nice head of, really creamy parchment-colored foam. Oh, the aroma is blowing out the top to meet me. It's just wonderful. It's like a caramel and citrus and pine. There are caramel malts in this, 2-row pale malt, and the hops are fresh picked 3 C's, Cascade, Centennial, and Chinook. A classic combination from the early days of American craft brewing. The aroma is just so fresh and powerful. I love it. Let's get at it. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. I'll tell you what, 6.8% and caramel malts, and this thing is just brisk and clean. The hops really clean things up. Well, good brewing cleans things up. It is sweet from the malt. It is bitter from the hops. It is aromatic from the hops. There's flavors and aromas of pine and grapefruit. And that good caramel malt. This is a beer in dynamic balance. There are so many things going on here, and yet you don't even notice it. It's that cliche of the swan paddling like crazy under the water and just serene on top. Oh, I just love the way this beer comes together. It truly is one of my favorite beers. Put aside favorite holiday beer. Wow. It's really tempting to just pause this and drink the whole thing and come back to you. But I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to tell you to do what we do. Go out there and get a good supply of this now, because it's going to disappear, because people like me are going to go out and buy a good supply of it. Such a good beer. Here's to you, Sierra Nevada. Now, of course, I didn't forget, we're also going to get your smack dab in the center, sponsored by the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau. You know, since we're talking about holiday episodes and we're starting to slide into the holiday season, I mean, once Halloween's done, we're in November, and that's when the whole slippery slope starts. I want to put a bug in your ear about Bellefont's holiday events. It's a Victorian town by architecture, and it gets pretty darn Dickensy by Christmas time. It actually starts in mid-November with the Bell Mercantile Holiday Party on November 15th at Bell Mercantile at 135 South Spring Street. Snacks and drinks, shopping, of course, and a chance to win a gorgeous gingerbread house. That runs from 10 to 5. And then the whole town starts getting into the spirit with Small Business Saturday on Thanksgiving weekend, when they do their Shop Small crawl. Wander downtown, and don't forget Titan Market just down the creek. Shopping, drinking, eating, hey, why not, maybe even dancing. But the real fun is the weekend of December 12th through the 14th, the Bellefonte Victorian Christmas. The whole town is on display, decorated with live music, special food and drink, and enough art, crafts, and fine merchandise that you really could get your entire Christmas list shopped out here while having a great time. Take a moment, go up on the hill south of town and look down across the whole town into the mountains. It's just gorgeous. And you know, if the shopping gets to you, take a break on the Bellefonte Historical Railroad. On Saturday and Sunday, the 13th and 14th, there are excursions all day, the Sugar Plum Limited and the Candy Cane Express. Tickets are needed, and they go on sale November 1st, so plan well ahead and get on board. Bellefonte is beautiful, and even more so in December. Get more information on these events at the happyvalley.com website. Click on the Events button, and then click through on the Holiday button. It's all there. Lititz is built at the site of springs of fresh water, commemorated in a fountain at the triangular center of town where Main Street meets Broad Street. Long before Europeans settled here, the area was believed to be held by the Nanticoke people, a theory supported by relics found near the spring. The first known settler in the area was Christian Baumberger in 1722. Now, if you're listening to this particular podcast, you may well be wondering, but no, he was no relation to the distillery north of Lititz, now remembered as Michter's, but once called Baumberger's. That distillery was originally founded in 1753 by John and Michael Schenck, and then sold to an Abraham Baumberger in 1860. Baumberger's just a common area name. This Baumberger lived in a dugout home about a mile north of the springs and never really expanded his land. But in 1741, another settler, John Klein, acquired about 300 acres around the springs, which eventually grew to over 500 acres. And this is where the Moravian church comes into the picture. Lititz, like Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and Nazareth, Pennsylvania, was largely settled by the Moravian church, one of the first Protestant sects founded in Bohemia in 1457. They were successful in converting people to their vision of Christianity, in fact, so successful that the princes of both the Catholic Church and the secular authority were moved to violently oppress them. The Hussites, as they were called for their devotion to their spiritual founder, Jan Hus, fought fiercely, and with some success. Eventually might prevailed, and they were crushed and scattered across several neighboring states and went into hiding. That scattered, hidden seed of Moravians understandably turned to pacifism and non-resistance, as Eric Wolf mentioned last episode. But that message of peace and piety reached the ear and heart of Count Nicholas Zinzendorf, a Saxon noble, in the 1720s. Zinzendorf would become a burning fire of missionary enthusiasm, spreading the Moravian idea throughout Europe and the New World. Count Zinzendorf traveled to North America in the 1740s, and on a cold December night in 1742, he preached at Jacob Huber's Tavern, about a mile north of the Lititz Springs. Klein, you remember John Klein, did not go, supposedly scornful of preachers, but his friends were galvanized by Zinzendorf, and Klein decided to go hear him the next night in Lancaster. Zinzendorf's message changed Klein's life. He became full of the spirit of the Moravians. Klein built a church on his tract of land for the local farming community, which had been similarly kindled by Zinzendorf. Then in 1746, he built a larger church and a school. The school was for boys and girls, a somewhat radical idea at the time. In 1758, two separate schools were set up, and the girls' school would become Linden Hall's School for Girls, the oldest girls' school in America, still operating in Lititz today. Back up just a bit. In 1755, Klein gave his land to the church, and Zinzendorf, back in Europe, gave his blessing to the idea of a village to be laid out there and named it Lititz, after a castle where Hus's followers had found refuge after being crushed. The town would be run entirely by the Moravian Church until 1855. Now, not long after the town was established, the Moravians gave their blessing to a tavern called Zum Anker, or To the Anchor at the Anchor, in 1764. The Moravians weren't against drinking. It was usually the healthiest drink available, but they did encourage moderation. And Zum Anker would thrive and expand as a hotel and spa, employing the reputed curative powers of the springs. For a period in the 1870s and 80s, it was owned by John General Sutter, the man largely known for owning the mill where the California Gold Rush started. Today, it's the Lititz Springs Inn, home of the celebrated Bull's Head Pub, which has been named the best beer bar in America several times. They have an excellent cask ale program, with 2 beers on hand pull, sometimes British imports like Fuller's or Cane's, and sometimes local beers. Original owner Paul Pendyke, good friend of mine, imported hand-pull beer engines to the U.S. and installed quite a few in American bars and would train the staff how to handle cask ale properly. It's an art, and Paul has the touch. The bar staff at the Bull's Head is Cicerone-trained, and the cask ale program earned a cask mark plaque from the British Campaign for Real Ale and maintains that level of excellence. And their whiskey program is almost at that same level. It's merely fantastic. The service model is that of a British pub. No table service. You order your food and drinks at the bar. You get your beers there, but they bring the food to your table. The food is a combination of American bistro and British pub food perfected. The Scotch egg, the bangers and mash, chicken tikka, all top-notch. And the sticky toffee pudding is a mouthful of wonder. The Bull's Head was my mother's favorite bar, largely because of the bangers and mash that she loved, but she always had a glass of beer or cider. It was the last place I took her before she died last year. I've been back to have a beer since. She'd be pleased, I'm sure. Look, I cannot recommend this place enough. Full disclosure, I helped set up their whiskey program and did some training, did a couple of whiskey dinners there, but that was years ago, and believe me, they've done just fine since then. Shortly after the Moravians gave over control of the town, another Lititz institution was established. Julius Sturgis, the country's oldest pretzel baker, is just down Main Street from the Bull's Head. Actually, Quite a few of the great little shops that make Lititz such an attraction are on those first 4 blocks of Main Street east of the fountain. I'll be honest with you, I intended to go to Julius Sturgis when I visited, but there were so many people there I couldn't even get in. They give tours, you see, where you get a chance to hand twist pretzels after a minimum of instruction, and these tours are hugely popular. Take a look at the timing so you have a better chance of getting in. The pretzels are great, right up there with the Ravona pretzels we had back in episode 27. Really good interview. If you haven't heard it, make a note and download that one. Episode 27. Anyway, if you don't beat the lines at Sturgis, you can just do what I did and walk down along the east side of the building to Whiff Coffee Roasters. They have all the coffee drinks you'd expect. I got a great cortado to keep me going. But they also have beans, which they'll grind for you, of course. A lot of beans. They usually have almost 30 regular options, maybe a dozen decaf, and over 60 flavored coffees. People order their flavored coffees across the country. Whiff was actually recommended to me by a friend in Minnesota, said I had to go. And I got a pound of Sumatra to take home. You better get something good, too. Another great Lititz institution is, unfortunately, only an outlet now. Wilbur Chocolate used to be made here, but they got bought by Cargill in 2016, and production has shifted to other Pennsylvania plants in Mount Joy and Hazleton. But the outlet is great, and Wilbur Buds, well, if you haven't had them, you're going to love them. Very, very good chocolate. There's Stolen Wolf, of course, which we visited last episode, although I didn't mention their great cocktail bar and their merch shop currently featuring signed copies of American Whiskey Masterclass. It's definitely worth a visit. You might also find some distillery-only bottlings, and this is good whiskey. Lititz is just north of Lancaster, and there are fun things to do and good shopping south of town, but I want to encourage you to go north on Route 501 to the little crossroads town of Brickerville. Right there at the light, where 501 intersects Route 322, is the Brickerville House restaurant. Now, the food is good, the service is friendly, but mainly they serve a chocolate cake with peanut butter icing that tastes like really, really good homemade, like my great aunt's cakes that I used to start thinking about a month before the annual family reunion. There are also some very good shops, but the cake is the thing. Now, it's about time to visit Rooster Street Butcher for our interview, but there are a few other breweries in the area. Appalachian Brewing has a brewery there with their usual solid stuff and good comfort food menu. The Compass Mill Tap House brews just outside of town on the east, and Collusion Tap Works of York has a tap room just around the corner from the Bull's Head off Broad Street. Fetish Brewing is in the Rock Lititz compound just north of town. I first saw them when they were kind of selling their beer by subscription, but they've got their own place now. Right, I forgot about Rock Lititz. Really quick, they support the music entertainment industry with rehearsal space, set design for major concert tours, and anything else a touring band needs. If you're in Lititz and you think you saw Steven Tyler of Aerosmith or David Byrne of Talking Heads, you probably did because they work at Rock Lititz. Okay, let's talk to Josh Kauffman, the brewer at Rooster Street Butcher in Lititz. I interviewed Josh after taking my Aunt Alice to Rooster Street for lunch. We each had salads. She had the Caesar, I had the chopped, and they were great. Fresh, precisely cut and arranged, and the dressings were fresh made. I had a glass of an amber lager Josh had on that rang every possible bell you can think of for a beer by that description. Malty, clean, fresh, just a bit of floral herbal cop character, and a clean release after a malty finish. Quietly beautiful. Let's talk to him about that. Josh Kauffman. Hey, I'm at Rooster Street Butcher with Josh Kauffman, the head brewer here, and I'm a longtime friend. How you been?
Yeah, all right. Doing well. How you doing?
I'm good. I was thinking, actually, we talked about this because I was just in here earlier with my aunt for lunch. I not only know you, I went to school with your parents. My father got classes from your grandfather, and I served your great-grandfather beers outside of Strasburg, Pennsylvania.
That is the most Lancaster County story I think you could possibly tell.
Seriously. So we're established. So tell us about this place.
Yeah, so Rooster Street Butcher actually started, as the name says, as just a butcher shop here, where the restaurant is now. We had our deli cases. We had a couple of vendor stalls at local markets here.
Oh, okay.
There was one at the Wilbur Building, and then Central Market down in Lancaster. And they made sausages, broke down, steaks and pork chops and all that. Tony and Christina, the original owners, then sort of had this idea to add on a full-scale restaurant here with the production butchery in the back.
Right.
And
Great idea.
that was, I want to say, like 2015-ish, where they started making food.
Oh, when they added the restaurant?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Because they had originally started back in E-Town in 2012.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah.
I thought I was losing my mind.
That's right. Yeah. So they
okay.
came here 2 or 3 years later, started up shop.
Just
added
for
the-
my central Pennsylvania people, E-Town being Elizabethtown.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's all right. That's what we call it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they added the restaurant and did that for years and years until I guess it was 2022 when David Stout, who owns the Bull's Head Public House up the street, offered to buy the place, and Tony and Christina were ready to kind of move on. Mm-hmm. And David had this vision to pair the great food at the restaurant with a small brewery. So where the production butchery was in the back, we put in a little 3-barrel brew house with 4 fermenters, a couple of bright tanks. Started making beer.
Is that why you have all those stainless steel tables down there?
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking at this. I'm thinking this looks just a little off from most.
Well, when you can
breweries
kind of
I've seen.
see like where the dips in the floor were, where we had like
Where they
the
were
bandsaw and
Oh, okay.
the deep freezer that was back there and all that kind of left their mark.
Yeah. So tell me about what people find when they walk in the place. What's the menu, the beer list, the vibe, the point?
Yeah.
Why is it here?
So I think it's firstly when you walk in, you're like, wow, this is a really kind of a beautiful, lovely,
It is
brightly
bright and
lit,
bright,
natural
yeah.
lit
A lot
spot.
of glass.
And it just looks nice. It's not a warehousey industrial. When you think of like a brewery, you
Right.
tend to think more in that direction.
Yeah, concrete floor.
like sad, uncomfortable, steel
Right, the steel
chairs that are at
Yes.
every So it's just lovely, and the food has been top notch here since day one. They still break down all the cuts for everything back there, from the steaks
okay.
to the pork chops. The food really is next level here.
But I got to say, if people don't think that makes a difference, it's because they haven't experienced it.
Yeah. Well, I tell people I have it on easy mode because the food's so good. People still haven't really even heard about the beer yet, but they come here
And it's
for
just
the
in front of
food,
them.
and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, well, yeah, why
Come on,
not?
beer.
So we do anything from pork chops and steaks to rotating sandwich specials, a couple of sandwiches that always stay on the menu, rotating like seasonal soups, salads. Our most popular item probably still is our Rooster sandwich, which is kind of like a big buffalo chicken sandwich with house-made ranch, big, beautiful pickles. And it is just a massive slab of a sandwich.
The people sitting next to me at lunch got the rooster chicken on their salad.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, the portions here
oh
are
my God, it's
incredible.
enormous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it basically already almost has like an upscale big pub sort of menu with rotating sandwiches. So it was easy enough to just slot the beer in, and they use some of the beers here in house to make beer cheese soup, which
Okay.
is seasonal, and some of the other like cheese sauces and stuff that they make, stews. They braised onions with some of the beer. So it's just been a really
that's what you
natural
like to hear. Yeah.
fit. Yeah.
So what's your, I don't know, I hate it. What's your vision with the beer? I mean, what kind of beers are you doing?
Yeah. So David's idea, he wanted to bring in a brewer that would just kind of have that vision ready made. He didn't say, here's the beers you're going to brew. He said, brew what you really want to drink, essentially. Brew what inspires you. Get weird with it if you want.
And you did.
Come on. That's good. Guilty. But basically, his idea is, this is sort of a proving ground. If the brewer that the brewer that we find comes in and makes good stuff, and people are excited about it, and we go around to all the local beer fests and get the word out.
Which you're doing one this weekend, I
Yeah,
heard?
Lititz Craft Beer Fest is
Nice.
this Saturday. Then from there, who knows where we can go.
Sure.
But basically, we're keeping it small here at Rooster Street. We're not canning or anything yet because we don't make a ton of beer. Mm-hmm. Most of it gets sold right here across the bar or makes it to local fest.
Mm-hmm. I assume there's some down at Bull's Head?
Yeah, right. Because Dave Stout owns Bull's Head as well.
And that's a great place to have your beer on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's one of the best craft beer bars in the country, let alone, right here in Lititz. So we're very lucky to get our stuff on over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and basically let the growth happen organically instead of, forcing it into a bigger system and taking on a lot of debt and then getting into, hot water.
Right. Place you don't want to be.
Yeah. So taking it slow and letting the growth come as it does.
Okay, so let's stop dancing around. Tell them about the mushroom beer.
Yeah, all right.
Tell them about the mushroom beer.
So in my private life, I tell people I'm a big nerd.
Dude, I can tell that just from your Instagram feed. I'm sorry.
Yeah. If you see me on social media, you already know. But I go foraging for mushrooms all the time. I love hiking, and not just looking for edible stuff, but looking for anything that looks interesting, weird, and then taking it home and identifying it. So my wife Stan and I used to live down in Tampa, Florida, where I was out multiple times a week. Found this mushroom that covered an entire field.
Wow.
And relatively nondescript little guy. Just a little brown mushroom about 2 or 3 inches tall. Nothing.
Looked like a mushroom.
Nothing to write home about. It looked like a mushroom. What do you think? And one of the ways I identify them is I take them home, dehydrate them. Then from there you can look at the spores under a microscope and do all this stuff. But with this particular mushroom, put it on the dehydrator, which we were in a small apartment at the time. No garage, So it was in the house. I was doing this. Yeah. Oh, and I've gotten in trouble for that. But that's another story. Came back a couple hours later as these were dehydrating, and the whole house smelled like maple syrup. And I had no idea what was happening because Shane and I were both out. No one was cooking. No one was. There was no, candles. Turns out when you dehydrate these specific mushrooms, they're called candy caps. Mm-hmm. They smell intensely of maple syrup, sort of honey.
I was sure you were lying to me when you said there was no maple in that beer.
I call the beer No Maples Were Harmed to drive it home because I make this sort of wee heavy. I call it a strong ale.
Yeah.
And
beautiful idea for that.
Yeah. It already leans into that sort of sweeter aspects of the mushroom, and I love putting that beer in front of people. When they know ahead of time that there's mushrooms in it, the reaction is very strong.
Yeah.
We had a guy at Lititz Craft Beer Fest a couple of years ago say, it could be the best beer ever in the entire world. No,
not doing it.
I hate mushrooms. Not doing it. I'm not even allergic. I just hate them. All right. But when I can just sort of get this beer in front of people, smell it, they go, whoa, what is going on? Taste it, wow.
That's pretty wild.
Mushrooms, nothing else, just mushrooms.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Are they actually edible by themselves?
Yeah. People use them in baking. So they can't be grown; they have to be foraged.
Okay.
But there are a couple of companies on the West Coast and up in Canada that will send certified foragers out, bring them back, dehydrate them, package them, and sell them. So
and that's what you're using. You're not going out finding that many.
So our East Coast one is a little bit more rare.
Okay.
A lot harder to find. No one goes out to forage them at the production scale, I guess.
Okay.
So it's not like chanterelles or morels or the big more popular ones.
The ones that are
But people use them in baking and sweet treats.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Why do you make beers like that? I mean, and I'm serious. What brings them to your mind? What do they do for you? And I mean, sometimes they can't all work out the way you thought they were going to.
It's very true.
I mean, that's part of it, right?
So having the first brewery I brewed at was down in Seminole, Florida. It's called RAPP, R-A-P-P.
Okay.
Tiny little brewery, about a barrel and a half we'd get out of each batch.
That is tiny.
Tiny. Like basically a third of what I do here, which is already pretty small.
Right.
But we had 40 of our own taps. 40.
Or you sell them 3 glasses a day?
So there were 3 brewers brewing 7 days a week.
Wow.
Twice a day. Kegging twice a day, 7 days a week. So we
I've
got
never
to brew.
heard of a system like that.
Yeah. And it was a different time in the industry too,
Sure.
I think. So, I think the sort of passion tax was higher on our end.
Yeah.
But regardless, we got to brew everything under the sun, which was so exciting to me. I love making a nice, clean rice lager. I love making a mushroom beer, a sour beer.
I mean, just plain amber you gave me today was just delicious.
Yeah. So I guess.
Yeah,
really,
and I want to have. I'm going to interrupt you, and I apologize for that, but you really make a lot of beer-flavored beer, too.
Yeah.
You're not just a weirdo.
Right.
Yeah.
So the industry always goes through these cycles. It was the IBU wars, and then it was the how sour can we make this wars, and then now we're in this.
What weird shit can we put in this beer?
Yeah, and like how much fruit.
Which I would
can
say
we
those
pack
mushrooms don't really count. Because
I appreciate
it's
that.
not like they're Lucky Charms or donuts, right?
I like to delude myself that it's different for me.
Yes,
yeah,
of course
yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yes, it always is.
Right. I'm an exception, but it's exciting to me. I like putting stuff in front of people that they've never experienced before, just as much as nice clean amber lager that your dad would have drank, and it all excites me still. People ask me if I get tired of the smell of mashing in, which is where I add the hot water and the grains together, and it sort of smells like bread and sometimes cookies and brownies and all this. And I will never get tired of it.
It sure doesn't sound like it.
So it is. It excites me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good a reason as any.
Yeah, sure.
So you kind of mentioned this before. At least some of the reason people come here is because they're coming to Lititz. Lititz has become almost, I don't want to say against their will, but without noticing, they've become a destination.
Absolutely. There's been a huge turnaround, I think, over the last decade here in Lititz, where they've really focused on sort of the tourism aspect while keeping true to like the historical nature of the town. Lititz has been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. Started as a Moravian community, and the church is still here operating, almost right next door to us. But they've done such a great job of bringing people into the town through tons of events, whether it's something like the Lititz Craft Beer Fest or the Lititz Craft Fest, as in arts and crafts, which is one of the biggest, really, on the East Coast. It's massive. Art Fest. The Chocolate Walk, because we have Wilbur here, who, of course, is famously made chocolate here forever. They just do an incredible job of bringing people here. And it's a great town. It's a great little walkable town.
Yeah.
Tons of great, unique stores that are locally owned. And, we actually are not positioned in the heart of town, right, where Main Street meets Broad Street. But being a couple blocks off, people eventually make their way down this way.
I also think that, I've been coming to Lititz forever. Actually used to buy clothes here. There was a men's store here. We used to buy clothing. But I think it's expanded because it used to be just Main Street.
That's right. That's
but
exactly right.
It's
blocks and blocks out.
Yeah,
now. And we
Stolen
have
Wolf down there, and you up here, and stuff's just spread.
And there's Fetish, another brewery at the Rock Lititz campus, which Rock Lititz itself is a huge draw.
Yeah.
There's the odd chance that you'll see Steven Tyler at the local our Bomberger's Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
Because all of the major concerts around the whole world get their sound stages and production done here. Literally here.
Yeah.
So it's just been an incredible confluence of, the will of the town itself to bring people in. And, just having places like Rock Lititz to keep people coming.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that it's a beautiful little place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think even someone who comes to Lititz with few to no expectations and just looks up restaurants, which restaurant to go to, or are there any breweries?
Yeah.
They've been doing such an amazing job with the food here for so many years that it's always at the top of the list for coming here for the food.
I don't want to get you in trouble, but what other places are good?
Right here in Lititz?
Yeah.
Oh, there's all kinds of fun stuff. Let's see. We've got the Brazilian Table,
Okay.
which is a really fun little stop. And right here on Main Street, as it sounds, Brazilian food, Brazilian owner, mom and daughter. Phenomenal food, extremely friendly.
Nice.
I love going there to hang out.
Yeah.
Great coffee shop, Slate. Great coffee roaster.
Okay.
Whiff.
Someone from Minnesota told me I should go to Whiff.
Yeah, Whiff is incredible. So they have probably, and this is not an exaggeration, 75 different flavored coffees.
Oh my God.
They, the wackiest combos you've ever heard of, the tried and true stuff. Really, really awesome. There's the oldest pretzel bakery in I think in the country.
Yeah.
Is here. There's Becca Fico, a new Italian spot that's really incredible. It's hard to find a tomato pie. That's another one we love.
Oh, okay.
Sort of right on the corner of Main and Broad Street. Whatever kind of food you
that's something coming from you because you're kind of a nerd about pizza too.
Oh yeah. Yep. And speaking of pizza, there's Roma. There's Nino's? There's a new pizza spot over in the Wilbur building.
Oh, okay.
What's it called?
Is it Cavolo?
Cavolo,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay.
And they've been doing a really great job.
Cool.
We got a lot here.
Yeah. And it's not a tiny place, but it ain't that big either.
Right. But it just hosts such an array of amazing spots. And a lot of them have been here for years and years. Which is really cool.
Yeah. Congratulations. And you've built something here.
Thank you. We're trying.
Yeah. And it's good to see you.
You as well, man.
Yeah. All right, bud. Take care.
Yeah. See you around.
All right. Man, Josh is just such a good guy. I do want you to go to the Bull's Head, but you must walk up to the Rooster and get some of Josh's great beer. Better take 2 days. There's a lot to do and see and shop and eat and drink in Lititz. But remember, moderation. It's the Moravian way. I was on another podcast. I was taping an episode of What's Brewing PA last month, and that's good too. Search What's Brewing on YouTube to find them. When I met Chet Chesko, a friend of my co-host, Glenn Macnow. Chet produces a podcast called Philly Press Box Radio. Now, it's usually about Philly sports, and he gets some great guests on, but Chet enjoys a good drink, too, and he asked me if I'd like to be on the show. Well, sure, why not? So I actually taped that this morning and talked about whiskey and holiday beers. It's a short show, only about 14 minutes, but we had a good time. It will air on the Philly Press Box Radio channel on YouTube starting November 13th, and will also be available at the Philly Press Box Radio Facebook page. Give us a listen. Chet's a good guy. Hey, so am I. Which reminds me, there's still plenty of time to get your whiskey-loving friends a copy of American Whiskey Masterclass for the holidays. The book's selling well, getting good reviews online. I'm still working on some Central PA events, but I can tell you I will be at the Gary Owen Irish Pub in Gettysburg at 6 p.m. on December 11th. Check their Facebook page early because that's going to sell out. Meanwhile, get a book. Get two. That's the show. Thanks to Josh Kauffman for the interview, and a shout out to his parents, my friends Cheryl and Doug. Hope to see you guys sometime soon. As always, you can find pictures for this episode on Instagram at Stag Podcast and on Facebook at Seen Through a Glass. If you're listening to the show on the radio at WSOV, there are over 60 more episodes to enjoy at Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or any of the major podcast sources. This Pennsylvania bit is up-to-the-minute relevant. A ways back, I told you about some ancient stone weirs that have been found in the Susquehanna. The natives built them thousands of years ago, piling stones by hand on the riverbed. The weirs are not dams, but more porous stonework in V shapes that guide the flow of water, and fish, particularly eels. When the eels would run downstream toward the sea, these people would wait at the downstream opening of the weirs with nets or large baskets and catch huge amounts of eels, a valuable source of calories. They would probably gorge on the fresh eels as they worked, and then smoke them to preserve them for the winter. Well, The current ongoing drought has the river level quite low, and you can actually see the weirs. There are some in the Harrisburg area, downstream from the I-83 bridge, and another up by Danville. And I saw some structures along the shore just south of Liverpool that sure looked like they ought to be fish weirs. Take a look at the Susquehanna. Next episode is the Thanksgiving episode, and it's full of fungus. We were lucky enough to get wild mushrooms from some friends this year, and I decided to get some interviews from them about foraging. I'd been wanting to do a foraging episode for a while. Seemed like a good chance. Stand by for a very traditional Thanksgiving. Until then, thanks for listening. This is Lou Bryson on Seen Through a Glass from the smack dab center of the Keystone State.